So in this video we're going to be talking about Titleist new AP1 and AP2 irons of the 7.6 range, and specifically the differences between the two and why you may choose to go with one model over another. First of all, let's talk about the cosmetics. You can see here there's both got a very similar shape on the back. Obviously the AP1 iron is a much larger iron, it's more offset, a thicker top edge, more confidence inspiring behind the ball, and also more forgiving. If you go down to the AP2 iron, you can see it's more of a traditional look, more of a traditional finish. You can see here it's more of a silvery finish, whereas the AP1 is slightly darker to give it the appearance that it's actually smaller than it is. The AP2, although slightly smaller and less forgiving than the AP1, actually uses more tungsten weighting than the AP1. We talked about tungsten before. That's that high density material that allows Titleist to place weight where they want it in the head to lower the CG and make the iron more forgiving. So I've already hit a few shots with both of these irons on my GC2 launch monitor. Going to hit a few more and really dive into the data to give you an idea about how the irons perform and where the differences and similarities lie. Don't forget the AP1 is about 3 degrees stronger through the set, so expecting more distance from the AP1, but what other differences are there? Let's go and find out. So I spent a whole afternoon here at Burr Hill Golf Club having a hit with Titleist new 7.16 AP1 and AP2 irons, and the key question is, what are the differences between the two? Now, starting with AP1, no surprises here. You're going to get more distance from AP1. It's 3 degrees stronger through the set. Looking at, for me, with a 7 iron, is getting about 6 or 7 yards longer with the AP1. So if you're a player that struggles with distance with their irons, certainly worth switching up to the AP1. Again, if you struggle with misstriking the ball, the AP1 is certainly more forgiving, just down to the size, but also the construction of the head. Looking at the numbers through on the GC2 launch monitor, spin numbers incredibly very similar between the two, hardly any difference in spin between the two. Certainly a high trajectory with the AP2 iron, so you are going to get fractionally more stopping power with those. I think one really interesting point to note about both of these irons is the distance consistency was very good. Normally with game improver irons of this size with the AP1, you expect to get a few that feel really flush out the sweet spot and carry a few extra yards, maybe go over the green when you weren't quite expecting it. Certainly that wasn't the case with these AP1 irons. Distance is just as consistent as it was with the AP2, and that's a really reassuring fact. When you're hitting into greens, you're going to get that pinpoint accuracy. But general playability as well through the turf. Both of them cut through the turf really nicely. With the AP2 especially, you've got this kind of rounded leading edge designed to cut through the turf a little bit more. So if you're looking for an iron that's going to give you out and out distance and forgiveness, the AP1 is probably going to be the one for you, especially if you don't care too much about a traditional looking iron. Whereas if you want a traditional looking iron, you want something that's a little bit sleeker, a little bit more compact behind the ball, but still offering forgiveness on those mishits, the AP2 really is one you should be trying this year. So hopefully that's going to help your buying decision when picking between the AP1 and the AP2 7.16 irons.